Welcome to Nevitalk. We would like to thank you for joining us here today at Seapearl ATAKOY with this amazing and exceptional sea view. It's great to see you amongst us. Could you tell us a bit more about who you are and your agency and what inspired you to be in this sector?
I am Serif Nadi Varli. Thank you, by the way, Sila and Nevita team for welcoming us today to Seapearl project. I'm from Fethiye. I started working on real estate market. I can say I born into the real estate office because it is my father's job. We started Vartur company in 1987. My age is 35, so it's similar to my age. My journey is started from 2002 when I registered the new generation, which is Vartur.com. Then my journey started. So last almost 20 years, I am in this field, working in real estate, marketing whole Turkey from Alanya to Kuşadası plus Istanbul. But mostly I'm in Istanbul right now.
What an amazing journey and what
Thank
an
you.
amazing story. We hope your success continues.
Thank you.
Do you think that the pandemic has affected the real estate sector? And if you think that it has, in what ways has it affected it?
I think pandemic is affected from A to Z all markets, but some of them has been affected positively, some of them affected negatively. When pandemic started in March 2020, my company had 10 staff. Now I have 25 staff. So it means that pandemic affected our division of real estate, which is international real estate, foreign real estate market, has been grown in Turkey. There are some specific reasons why it has been grown in this period of time. Because my personal opinion, Turkey has managed this COVID period with its powerful health system very well. On the other hand, in some countries, when they are not happy living, they decide to move to Turkey with their investments, with their families. So it's growing every day and it's affected real estate market in Turkey positively.
I know that you just mentioned you had 10 staff, and even during the pandemic you ended up having 25 staff. What was your success story in that? Because I think it's great when, as you said, some sectors were negatively affected, but here you are growing your business in real estate, so there must be some magic there. What is your magic?
When it started in March 2020, all of us closed down to our homes. We work all from home office, but we never stopped. From 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. like working in the office, we work from our homes to grow what we can do during this lockdown, because we cannot go out, we cannot meet with people. So what we did is we 90% focused on making online sales. So I think we were one of the few companies which succeeded high number of online sales during this period, because there was some number of people are trusting us and we were giving as maximum as possible information through the online sources, and the law is also making it possible that with power of attorneys you can close the sale. So this survived us. If you can survive as a company, as a country, or as an organization during this kind of pandemic period, survive, it means that after pandemic you can grow much more.
Thank you very much. And as you know, Istanbul is obviously an amazing destination to not only travel to, but to invest in, to live in. And we see many different projects, but I think globally there's this new rise in a more luxurious, well-being kind of living spaces and projects. What are your thoughts on those? What are, for example, Seapearl is a luxurious project where you're right by the seaside. So what do you think are advantages for people in terms of investing into these types of projects, living here? What are your thoughts on that?
I would like to divide the question to two parts. First part was about Istanbul. Second part about well-being and Seapearl. First part, I'm living in Istanbul last 7 years. Even myself, I see a big changes from the first day to today. For example, when I moved in, there was 2 bridges. Right now, in 7 years, 3 bridges, 1 underground, another, we can say, tunnel, from Europe to Asia. Tons of new metro stations has been opened and new ones are coming in 2-3 years. This new airport, which is the biggest airport and connected to the airport, Turkish Airlines is the company which is traveling to most countries in the world, and their base is Istanbul. Secondly, well-being part. This is the best thing I like about the basicness of luxury, which means that you don't need the high decoration details, the heavy items or extraordinary social things. The basic luxury is the nicest of the seaside. Silence, nature. We are on the seaside right now in the 20 million city. Only we hear the voice of the seagulls and the sea, which is amazing, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. And I would like to ask, what was maybe one of your favorite parts of being here at Seapearl today? What stuck to you the most?
The most important thing, which is exceptional in my opinion, in these kind of projects, for example, they make 600 apartments, but only 100 has the exceptional view. But in this project, there is no apartment with no sea view.
I guess we could say it's luxury for everybody,
Yes.
but true luxury.
True luxury.
You're right. It's equal in how it's shared, the view. Obviously, as you mentioned before, Istanbul is a very popular destination for international investors, but it's also a great opportunity for any domestic investors. So what makes these seafront projects so unique for not only internationals, but also for domestic investors we have in Turkey here?
All around the world, seafront there's a limit. If you make a line on the seafront, there are few number of properties, and if you go to the metropolitan cities, this number filters and the value increase much more. As you know, on the Bosphorus, there are only 600 houses, and each one worth between 10 to sky is the limit, $100-200 million, and increasing every day. So, as this kind of complex, Seapearl is the only one in Istanbul and on this seaside. All of these projects they call themselves seafront, but it's divided with the road, and you get the road noise, and you cannot touch the water in front of you. This makes a difference, and in the long run, this will make the difference on the price and the value as well. Right now, in your stock, there are available apartments, but after 3 years, when we will come, maybe people will compete each other to catch one apartment in this project. So this is a chance right now.
And I know we're located in ATAKOY, and you know out of everybody how valuable the land here in Istanbul is. Could you tell us a bit more about maybe where we're located here at Seapearl, ATAKOY, and what it means to live here and what type of brand this neighborhood has?
There are a few districts in Istanbul famous like this, like Bağdat Street, Nişantaşı, and ATAKOY is one of them. So these are we can call that prestigious location as a local person that you can live. 95% of the market is local in Turkey, so it is so valuable for a Turkish person to live in ATAKOY. It is not only living inside the complex. When you go out from your complex, you can see the difference from the restaurants you go, from the shopping malls you visit, difference of the life from the other districts. At the same time, these seaside roads, John F. Kennedy Street, which takes you to either from tunnel to Asian side, either straight you can reach to Beşiktaş, Levent. Being in ATAKOY, in Seapearl, is positively adds the value to the property because of its own location and closeness to the central points of Istanbul.
Thank you for joining us today and having this lovely conversation with us again with as you said, the sound of the sea and the seagulls. It was a pleasure having you here.
It was a pleasure for me to spending time on the seafront, sea view point that I didn't understand how the time passed while we are chatting. Thank you for inviting me. So see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels Nevita and the Serif the Broker.